Hey guys, Leon FPV here. Welcome back to the bench. And I wanted to talk to you guys about something that you might or might not have seen online. And that is the idea of running two cameras on the Acrobrat. As you can see, I have an Acrobrat here and it's got two cameras on it. It's also rocking the new Brat motors. If you guys get a chance, grab a set of these. They are very smooth and very powerful. Definitely worth it. But as you can see, this one is running two cameras, and you might be wondering, well, why would somebody want to do that? Well, here's what's happening. Basically, I'm using this camera. This is a Runcam Sparrow 2, and I'm using this camera to provide my FPV feed back to my goggles. And then the split, I'm keeping this camera because all this thing is doing is recording HD footage. That's all it's doing. So any possible negatives that might come from the FPV side, the FPV feed side on these dual purpose cameras, you pretty much eliminate it by putting it on a separate camera. So by getting your FPV feed from a separate traditional FPV camera, you pretty much eliminate all the headaches that that might pop up with this. For example, I find the FPV feed to be a little washed out and it's not as sharp on this camera. Also, if your SD card is full, the Runcam split, it can seize up on you, and when you're flying, you don't want that to happen. So running a dual camera, it's a really interesting concept, and I've gotten a chance to fly this, and I gotta be honest, I really like it. I just plug it in, this thing's recording, and I don't have to worry about anything. It's just like flying any other quad. So one of the things that I want to show you guys is okay, well, this is great. How do I wire this up? And I'm going to show you that. So in a traditional quad, basically what happens is you have your FPV camera, and that will get its 5-volt in power, typically from the VTX. Some people get them from the flight controller. But this will get power and ground, and then the video signal, the signal will come out of the camera, and it will go, in this particular case, it's going to go into the video in pad on the flight controller. The video in pad, what that does is that allows the flight controller to overlay the OSD information, if you have a flight controller that has OSD. And then what it does is it pipes, after it puts the OSD information over the video signal, it pipes it back out through the video out pad, and that line goes to your VTX, and then your VTX broadcasts it out the antenna, and then your goggles, they receive it, and that's how you can see your FPV feed. Now here's the catch. I wanted to be able to see the FPV feed at any given time from either of these cameras, and the reason why is because sometimes you need to go into your Runcam split or your CADX to make adjustments. Maybe you want to change the resolution, or maybe you want to change the frames per second, or maybe you just want to check to make sure the thing's recording. So it's beneficial to be able to see that in your goggles. But how do you wire that up if you only have one flight controller and one VTX and one set of pads? Well, that's where this switch comes in. And what I have here is this little guy here. If you could see this, I'm gonna try to show you this. This is what's called a single pole dual position switch. So basically it has a single pole, and that's the middle post here, and it has two positions. It could be, if it's all the way on this side, it will connect these two posts. If it's on this side, it'll connect these two poles. So basically that's how you're able to pick which video signal is going to go into the flight controller. So what I did was I took a switch, and it's right here, and basically what I did was I took a piece of wire, and I ran it from the video in on the flight controller. Okay, so it's going to go from the video in to the middle pole on the switch. Okay, because that's constant. That always gets connection, depending on whichever way the switch is, that's always connected. So that's going to be your video in. Okay, then I took the video signal from one camera and I put it on one pole, and then I took the video signal from the other camera and I put it on the other pole. So now what happens is when I plug this in, depending on the position of this switch, the VTX will broadcast that particular camera's video feed. So I'm going to show that to you guys right now. So I'm going to put that there. I'm going to grab this monitor, plug that in. I'm going to put that there. Grab a battery. Got my little adapter in here. And I'm going to plug that in. Now let me see here. Okay, alright, so I'm gonna hold this up so you guys can see this. Alright, so this is, sorry, I try to get that glare out of there. So this is a video feed. And if you can see up in the upper right hand corner, there is the blinking red dot. That is the split. So the split is recording. Now I'm going to flip the switch to the other side. I'm not going to power anything off. I'm just going to flip the switch. When I flip the switch, this is now the video feed for the other camera. So this is going to be the FPV camera that I'm going to use to fly with. And then, you know, let's say I plug in and I want to say, hey, you know what? I want to double check, make sure my split's recording. Boom. Flip the switch. See the blinking red dot. I'm good to go. I can flip it back. And now I'm ready to rip. So there it is, guys. That is how I wired a dual camera. And I'll try to get the link and I'll put it in the description. That's going to that for these switches. They're really cheap. They're only like, oh, also props off. Sorry guys, but pointed that out. But yeah, these switches, there's and there's a couple of different ones. I'll pick the I'm gonna find actually I can't have it here. I had another version of it, but the switch was really big. It was too big for what I wanted to put on the frame. But you get like something like 10 of these for like $8 or $9 on Amazon. But yeah, a single pole dual position switch and 2 cameras. And I gotta say, I'm really enjoying this. I don't, you know, again, like I said, you eliminate all potential negatives of the FPV feed side on these dual purpose cameras. And, you know, just regular camera, fly it like you usually do, and then keep this one around for recording. Now, with regards to how you mount this, so far everybody's experimenting with 3D mounts. If you go on the Facebook page, there's a couple guys that have made a couple mounts. I think Thingiverse, they're also available on Thingiverse. So if you have a 3D printer or somebody with a 3D printer that could print them out for you, that will be an option. So that's it, guys. Dual camera. It's pretty badass. Doesn't add a whole lot of weight either to the setup. I know it looks a little messy here, but that's just because I took this thing apart to pretty much show you guys how it was wired up. Alright guys, so please like and subscribe if you found this helpful. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments and I will try to help you out the best I can. Check us out on Acrobrat, www.acrobrat.com, and the Acrobrats on Facebook. Alright, till then, see you guys.